Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and at long last, the first big update of 2019 is finally upon us. We have some pretty big news and announcements regarding zombies, Blackout, and multiplayer, so without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's just jump right into the video. First things first, let's talk about zombies. I don't typically cover zombies news first here on the channel, but today is 115 Day, and as a result, we have a 115 celebration event that just went live. This means that from now until Friday, January 18th, we will be getting double experience, double weapon experience, and double plasma in the zombies game mode. This update also rebalanced a bunch of elixirs, but I can't lie to you guys, I don't really play enough zombies to really understand the intricacies or the meta or the balance of the various elixirs, but here are going to be the 6 elixirs that were changed and exactly what Treyarch did to them. It's also worth mentioning that with today's update, Treyarch reduced the number of vampires that spawn on Dead of the Night, and they also reduced the damage that the vampires do, and they also decided to nerf PhD Slider's damage reduction from 80% down to 50%. That pretty much does it for all the universal zombie updates, but if you play on the PlayStation 4, you'll be happy to know that 3 new elixirs are now available, as well as the new game mode Gauntlet. Because of the deal that Sony has with Activision, these 3 new elixirs and the Gauntlet game mode are only available on PlayStation 4 until next Tuesday, at which point they will then become available for the Xbox One and the PC. Gauntlet, of course, is a new challenge mode that has different rules for each round, and if you fail a round, you get a strike. Once you get 3 strikes, the challenge is over, and the goal is to make it all the way through the game mode and get past round 30, and at rounds 10, 20, and 30, you get a bunch of different rewards. This mode is also timed as well, so the idea is for it not only to be challenging, but there's also a speed run aspect to it as well. But moving away from zombies for a second, let's transition over to the multiplayer, because that's what the vast majority of people who watch my channel play. I'm sad to report that there aren't nearly as many multiplayer updates as we initially hoped. The biggest changes are that on the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, the Black Ops Pass maps are now available in all game modes instead of just being in a special mosh pit. Now, if you play on the PC, like with most things, this update is going to take effect next week as compared to this week. On top of the DLC map changes, this update also added Chaos Control into the fold, and it also nerfed the Specialist Zero. What Treyarch did is they made it so when Zero hacks you, you can now still use your Specialist weapons as well as your Specialist equipment. If you're keeping track, this is actually the second time they've nerfed Zero so far. The first nerf, they made it so you could heal while you're hacked, and with this nerf, they're making it so you can now use your Specialist gear and your Specialist weapons while hacked. It seems like Treyarch is slowly but surely realizing just how freaking powerful Zero is, and I wouldn't be surprised if they were to make even more changes to her in the relatively near future. Now, speaking of changes, today's update also buffed the Cold-Blooded perk by increasing its score streak delay benefit from 5 seconds up to 7 seconds. In theory, this is going to make Cold-Blooded a much more viable perk, because right now, and maybe this is just my experience, but right now it seems like that perk goes incredibly underused. Not only do people on my team never shoot down your support whatsoever, but it seems like nobody's ever really running Cold-Blooded either, so maybe after today's changes, people are going to start running that perk a little bit more. And they also decided to take the Team Link perk and increase its vision radius by 9%, which again is probably going to make one of the lesser used perks in the game a little bit more viable without making it too wild or anything like that. Unfortunately, that pretty much does it for the multiplayer changes. You guys may remember, I did a video last week where I, as well as a bunch of you guys, gave Treyarch a bunch of feedback, like an absurd amount of feedback for ways they can fix a bunch of bugs and improve the overall multiplayer experience, but unfortunately, none of those features or suggestions were included in today's update. Treyarch has said that more announcements are going to be coming soon, and of course, I will keep you guys posted as we get more information, but for right now, that pretty much does it for all the multiplayer changes that were made with today's update. Let's go ahead and wrap things up here by talking about Blackout. We actually have some pretty freaking big news in regards to Blackout, because it's looking like they're going to make Blackout free to play from January 17th up to January 24th. This means that Blackout will be free to download and free to play for the entire week on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC, but of course, once the event is over, it's going to go back to being tied to the rest of Black Ops 4, but regardless, that's still really interesting that Activision is experimenting with the free-to-play model. On one hand, it's pretty clear what they're doing. doing, right? They're trying to draw more players in by letting them in for free and then making them pay for the game a little bit later. But on the other hand, it seems like there's going to be a big uptick in the player count, right? When Activision sees this, maybe they'll reconsider having people pay for the Blackout mode. We've learned from games like Fortnite that the free-to-play model can be incredibly successful, and Activision also learned last year with their little experiment in regards to Black Ops 3 that as soon as a game goes free-to-play, the player count and total downloads nearly triples, right? So if you guys don't remember, they made it so Black Ops 3 was free-to-play on the PlayStation 4 for like a month or something like that, and when that happened, the player count skyrocketed. Like, Black Ops 3 is one of the most downloaded games on the PlayStation because it's Call of Duty, and it was also free-to-play for an entire month, right? So I'm definitely interested to see how things are going to play out from here. I truly do believe that making Blackout free-to-play would be a good decision. I mean, especially considering the business model of Blackout is already the same business model as a free-to-play game. You pay for skins, you pay for characters and stuff like that, so why not make it free-to-play? Makes sense, right? I feel as though it's going to make it so more people are playing it, and therefore they'll probably make more money from microtransactions. But once again, I'll keep you guys posted with more details as they become available. And once again, that event is going to be starting on January 17th and will last all the way until January 24th. Now, going back to the update here, today's update added the highly anticipated looting changes to console, and it also made it so the maximum stack for concussion grenades is now 1. So it doesn't really fix the problem with concussions in this mode, but it makes it so they're a little bit harder to carry because you have to dedicate more of your bag to holding on to concussion grenades. But ladies and gentlemen, that pretty much does it for all of today's updates and all of today's changes. Quite a lot was added to the game, all things considered, and a lot of things were changed, but we're still waiting to hear from Treyarch about these upcoming announcements that they teased to us last week. They did say that there is going to be a special Zombies blog post coming later on today, and some announcements are going to be made over on Twitter, links to those down there in the description. So I suppose stay tuned for that, but hopefully they will also reveal some plans for fixing the multiplayer, updating the multiplayer, and of course adding to the Blackout mode. As always, I'll keep you guys posted with more details as they become available, but until then, I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. Leave your thoughts and feedback down there in the comments, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.